Welcome back to Real Legends Podcast. We got a special episode tonight. We hit a milestone at Real Legends, Dan.
What was that?
We hit our 10 episodes. We made it 10 episodes deep.
Hey!
10 movies, 10 Real Legend reviews.
Let's go.
Yeah, so I thought we'd start off with a little fun trivia thing about our reviews thus far. So I have some questions for you.
Oh,
You
boy.
up for 'em?
Oh, crap. I wasn't ready for this.
Dan, do you know which two movies we have watched that star the same leading actor?
No.
I kind of didn't even realize this until after I think I posted the episode, because I was listening to it and I was like talking about the actor and how like he has charisma, and I was like, oh yeah, it's so fun to watch him on screen. And then I realized the first movie reviewed starred Kurt Russell, Tombstone.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Kurt Russell is Wyatt Earp.
Yep, and he's Jack Burton.
I did not realize that.
So he's got some range, right?
Wow, he
You know?
does.
Fun, goofy action comedy and more serious drama.
Yeah,
Yeah, so little fun fact.
that's cool.
We haven't repeated any directors yet, but we have repeated starring role, Kurt Russell. And who can blame us? Because he's pretty awesome.
No kidding.
All right, which movie has our highest? Do you know which movie has our highest combined review score? So between the both of us,
I want to say Ocean's 11.
close.
We gave that one both pretty high, didn't we?
It's actually The Prestige at
Oh,
8.25 combined. I gave it an 8. You gave it an 8.5.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, so Prestige coming at number 1 for Real Legends so far with
That's
movies.
good. That's very good.
Yeah, it's a good
Ocean's
movie.
11 got an 8. Okay, got second place.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I want to.
What's
have
our
another-
lowest?
Our lowest is The Aviator.
Oh,
4.5.
praise the Lord. Such a bad movie.
Easy, lowest movie for sure.
Man, such a stupid movie.
Yeah, I'd rather watch any of these movies 20 times than ever watch that movie again.
Same here. I'd rather date the chick from A Knight's Tale than watch The Aviator again. My buddy, I was telling him that like we do a podcast, and he was like, "Oh, like what are some movies that you watched?" And we were going through it. And
Yeah,
I said A Knight's Tale, and he's like, "Oh, I love that movie." And I was like, "I do too." Except for the lady.
except
I went on this whole rant about her again. So that
what did he have to say?
he agreed. He's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, she's pretty annoying, and she's not even attractive."
Right.
But again,
You can't be both. You can't be annoying and unattractive.
apparently you
Unacceptable.
can. Apparently you can.
Sure. All right. Well, going along with scores, is there any movie you would take a half point away from to add to a different view? Now that like we've in retrospect,
Oh, interesting.
looking back, would you say, okay, maybe I gave this one a little too high of a score and I give this one too low. Let me switch it.
I would take a half point away from Aviator and keep it there. Just give it a 3. 4 is too high.
Oh, 3.5. And just keep it. Or take a half point and then also, instead of adding it to a movie, subtract another
No,
half point.
exactly. I think the only movie that I really would change would be Legend of Bagger Vance. But actually, 7.5 that I gave it was pretty fair. So maybe not.
Yeah. I've got one for you.
Hmm.
I think for me, I would take a half point away from Galaxy Quest. Not because I don't think it's awesome, but a 4-star movie, 8 out of 10, that's
That's pretty
high. And I feel like I'd probably give it to Ocean's 11 and put that up at an 8 instead of a 7.5. Because that it's really good.
Ocean's
It's one of my
11 is so
favorites.
dope, dude.
I was tempted to actually take it from Galaxy Quest and give it to Big Trouble in Little China and put it at a 7.5.
You do love that movie.
Any other ones you think, or any that you think you'd subtract and add to?
No, I think
I think you're good with what you got.
I think that I've actually been pretty good. I'm looking at these and I'm like, yeah, that checks out.
I think I'll steal yours then. I think I would take probably the half from Tombstone, looking back, retrospect. Good movie, but maybe 8.5 was a little high. And I would add it to maybe even A Knight's Tale. I like A Knight's Tale, but that one's pretty good score, I think. Yeah, again, maybe it would just go to Ocean's 11 to bring it up to an 8.
Yeah.
So yeah, but besides that, this is kind of our scores. Our highest rated movie, The Prestige.
It's interesting. We both gave A Knight's Tale the same score. All the other
Yeah.
ones have different scores, but we rated that one exactly the same.
Yeah, and you've only rated 2 movies higher than me, The Prestige and Ocean's 11. Everything else I rated higher.
Those are 2 movies that I really liked. So that checks out.
Right.
I'm
All
a
right.
harsh critic.
Let's see what else I have on here. Which movie we reviewed has been your fave so far?
Ocean's 11.
Ocean's 11?
It's not close.
Okay,
Yeah.
but The Prestige,
Well, I had seen...
equally good movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Ocean's 11, like, at the end of it, I was just like, dang, that was such a great movie. And you feel pretty good at the end of it. Prestige is good for another reason. Prestige is good because it's like a thinker.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't necessarily feel good at the end of it, though. You feel kind of like, ooh, my gosh, what an ending. Yeah, it's like when you eat a Big Mac and like the whole time you're eating it, it's so good. But then at the end, you're like, why did I? Wow, my stomach hurts.
I wish Ronald McDonald would come punch me in the gut right now.
Exactly.
Felt like he did.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question. This is just me thinking. Should we switch the 5-star rating system, or do you like the 10-point rating system?
I feel like I like 10 because it gives me more wiggle room to give like a 0.5 because I like to be able to have, I think like a percentage is too much. 63%. How is that different from 65? You know what I mean?
Kind of what I said, yeah.
Like when Dave Portnoy gives a pizza like an 8-1, it's like, just give it an 8.
Right.
You know, it's like, why
Or
do all
0.5.
Yeah, why the point, like all the things. But I do think 0.5 is helpful, at least because like I can't give Ocean's 11 like a 9, but I think an 8 is too low. So like 8.5 to me is like just right.
Yeah, for me, I'm used to the 5-star rating system probably because of Letterboxd. And so for me, it's easy to conceptualize like, okay, a 5-star movie is like a perfect movie.
Yeah.
A 4-star movie is like a really good movie. And if it's like somewhere between like 4.5 stars out of 5 stars. For some reason, when it gets to 10, I don't know why it's harder for me to be like, where does this land between, 10 and 1? I don't know why, but
Yeah.
Anyway, just thought we'd visit that. But I think we'll stick with the 10. Variableness.
Tombstone's an example. Like I feel bad giving it a 7, but I
Sure.
can't give it an 8.
Right. So yeah, 7.5.
Yeah, that's where I find myself very often.
Riley R.I.P. gave Tombstone a 6.
Bro, his only review is a 6. That's brutal.
So I didn't put him in the Real Legends average because that would bring that movie
Yeah.
down like another point. But if he ever comes back on, maybe we'll consider his scores. Okay, cool. Well, that's it for our little 10th episode anniversary milestone.
Yay. That's awesome.
Can't believe we did it.
That's freaking awesome, dude. Go you. You've done most of the work, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's work, but it's fun.
And to all of our listeners out there.
Yeah, all 2 of you.
3 of them.
3. Including
I've shared the podcast with 3 people, so I know we have at least 3 listeners.
Okay. I know one guy that listens pretty regularly. Cool. Well, any movie news you want to share before we jump into the movie tonight?
Lilo and Stitch has been doing really, really well.
Yeah,
It's been killing it.
I saw like a meme from Babylon Bee about that, where it was like,
success of Lilo and Stitch teaches Disney important lesson to keep pumping out live action remakes forever.
yeah,
Was that it?
right? There's that one. Yeah, I saw a Simpsons one too, where Homer's like yelling at Moe saying, "I'm not going to be your customer anymore," basically. But there's so many people in the bar like handing Moe money. He's like, "I can't hear you, Homer."
I know.
So
It's
here comes more Disney remakes.
Yep.
I also saw that movie Fountain of Youth by Guy Ritchie that I was interested in. Has very bad reviews.
Oh.
So that doesn't look fun.
But you saw it?
No, I didn't see I didn't see the movie. I saw that it had bad reviews.
Oh, I did too. Yeah, same
kinda
thing. That
sucks.
it's just kind of
Which,
flopped.
by the second trailer, I could kind of surmise that it probably would be a bad
And
movie.
Mission Impossible didn't do nearly as well as Stitch did either.
Did it not?
No. It did like, I think, a third of the revenue Stitch did.
Yeah, it seems like people were somewhat getting out to see it. I did get to see it yesterday. No, 2 days ago. But it seems like, yeah, from what I've heard from people that have seen it, not a lot of people loved it.
No, it hasn't gotten great reviews.
So I thought it was pretty good. We won't jump into a review of it, but was it as good as some of the other ones? No.
I mean, yeah, it's like a Mission Impossible. You don't go in for the story, you know. You go in for the action and like the feeling and the music and all that stuff.
Well, we'll see about that, because tonight's movie, I'm Bo.
I'm Dan.
And tonight's movie is Mission Impossible, the first one. The first impossible mission.
Here's the mission that's impossible. Follow the story. Holy crap.
I kind of feel you. Like, I grew up watching this movie like a few times, and I've probably seen it maybe once as an adult, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't even know. And then we just revisited it tonight, and there were still things that, yeah, you were like, what's going on with this scene? I was like,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know who Max is. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Before like giving any spoilers, I will say like my initial impressions were, I think that the first 10 minutes is so good, and the rest of it's just like, wait, what? Oh, that's cool. Wait, what? Ooh, that's cool. That's the whole movie.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I liked it all right. The music and like the opening graphics and things, they've definitely aged.
Yes.
I was like, oh, this is like, I mean, I just saw the new Mission Impossible, and it's all, current, modern.
Mm-hmm.
And then seeing this, it's like, oh yeah, that was a little more 90s, a little more cheesy.
It was like
looking back on
giving me a seizure, dude.
That's the other thing with the openings of Mission Impossible that are kind of interesting, is how it always shows like images from like what's going to happen in the movie, or like later scenes. I always kind of find that interesting with those movies, because you kind of get a sneak peek, but it's not enough to understand what's going on. But you do get to see some of the movie before you watch it.
It's true,
which is interesting. I don't know any other movies that do that. My initial thoughts are, I enjoyed it for the most part. It is kind of a complicated heist / thriller / spy movie. Maybe not thriller is the right word, but spy espionage movie where there's a few parts hard to follow.
Yeah.
With exactly what's going on. I think by the end of it, I understand everything, but maybe as we talk about it, we'll see if I actually do.
Well, that's one of us.
Anything else you have to say before we jump into spoilers?
No.
Are you going to see the new Mission Impossible?
Yeah.
Think you'll see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Got to wrap up that.
The thing that sucks is that Tuesdays are just my busiest day by far.
Yeah.
And so I can't go to the theater on Tuesdays.
Yeah, that is a bummer. All right, well, we're going to jump into spoilers now. You've been warned if you haven't seen the first Mission Impossible.
Where have you been?
Yeah. It's a pretty iconic movie. We'll get into some of those iconic moments and scenes as we talk. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram at real.legends.pod, and we're now on YouTube at Real Legends Movie Podcast. Spoiler time. Here we go. Dan, is there anything you want to say before we get into the story question? Whose story is it? What do they want? What do they need? Does the movie make us care?
I feel like the first scene, the first 10 minutes where they're jumping right into the heist and you're meeting the fun characters and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, you're going to do this. You're going to do this. And they start to actually go in and perform the action. I was super into it the whole time. I'm like, this is so awesome. And then it switches and you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? But then it switches again and again and again. And you're like, what am I even looking at? It just ends up being a big mess in my mind.
Yeah, I did like how it got right into the action. Like, they're interrogating a guy, trying to get information from him in like a fake room that looks like a hotel room. And then right after that, they're planning their next mission and getting into it. So it's pretty...
The pacing at the beginning is awesome.
Yeah, there's no like long delay, long introductions of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of organic. Here's our team. And we just plan, and you get to know them as we plan. Personalities.
Yeah.
Ethan's kind of a... how would you say it? He's like, I feel like he knows he's like the cool point man, and he's kind of teasing people, the guy's wife, the guy himself, saying he's an old man, and just kind of rallying the team.
Yeah, he's kind of a smart aleck, but he's like funny.
Smart aleck, that's a good one. I can see why you feel that way with the movie. I just don't know that I've ever thought how much there is to this movie. Really, like as an adult, finally following and watching the story and trying to make sense of it all. It does seem a little messy.
Yeah.
And tangled.
Very messy.
I feel like you have to be very paying attention and weeding out what's going on in the story.
You got your spaghetti mixed with your French fries and your pizza's on top of it.
And you're like, wait, did I just eat some spaghetti?
And you've got ice cream on the side that's melting in. It's like all these things on their own are really good, but together it's like just feels like too much.
I agree for the most part with that, yeah. So, story, take us away. Ethan Hunt.
Obviously, it's his story.
What does he want initially? And throughout maybe even throughout some of the movie?
I think it's interesting because he just wants to like serve his country and like help his brothers at first. Like when Jon Voight's character, what's his name?
Jim Phelps.
When Jim says abort, 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 Ethan is like, no, we can't abort. We have to go. We have to do this. We have to do it right. And then he ends up getting people killed because of it. And so, like, you see kind of how he's like super distraught about that. And so he feels like he wants to get back at these guys. That's kind of his original motivation. But then that kind of fades. And it ends up just being like, I don't really know what Ethan wants by the end of the movie. Like he wants to make a deal with Max to give the list for 10 million or something like that, but it was actually a setup.
I think from what I understand from the movie, like you're right, initially he's just a guy leading his team, but then once things go to crap and his team starts dying, and then he goes into his government leaders and is like the IMF or whatever, they think he's a mole, and he finds out and figures out, wait, like this wasn't even a real operation. You were just trying to see who was the mole, and you think it's me. But he knows it's not him. They don't know that. And so from that point, he's like, okay, there's some guy who's in league with someone named Max, and something about a job. Yeah, job 314. He's like, he takes that and he figures out, okay, there's someone named Job's, this name that I need to find. He's the real mole. He's the one that got my team killed. So the whole kind of movie's driven by, I need to go steal this list that they're after because I want to catch that guy. Because when he meets with Max, he's like, my only condition is if I steal this list for you is that Job has to be at the heist or at the exchange. Because he wants revenge. He wants to find these people. Revenge, clear his name. So I feel like that's kind of like what he wants and his objective throughout most of the movie. Because I think, by the time he meets with Kittredge for the first time and blows up the restaurant, that's only like probably 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in.
Yeah, it's very soon.
So, I would say he probably wants, from my understanding, he wants that. He wants to find Job.
I don't know, man. I'm still trying to get my
bearings on the whole story.
Lasagna out of my salad.
Ethan Hunt infiltrates the embassy in Prague. Mission goes wrong. Most of the team's killed, including team leader Jim Phelps.
I get that part.
Okay, yeah. Safe house. Ethan meets IMF director Kittredge. Yep. Realizes he's being set up. Escape by using chewing gum explosive.
That scene is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a cool scene.
Little gum. The gum thing is cool. I like the guy's line.
Hasta lasagna.
Hasta lasagna. Don't get any on you.
We get a little bit of Emilio Estevez in the movie, but he dies so fast. Yeah, that's not the right. The
way he dies too is brutal, dude.
Yeah, kind of. Also, that was a little disappointing too. I feel like if you're going up an elevator shaft and there's like you're about to get squashed, you'd be like moving to try to find somewhere to not get smashed. But he just stares up and just watches.
Well, he is a nerd after all.
True. He's not the hero type, action hero type. Ethan recruits disavowed agents, and Ethan suspends on a wire in a pressure-sensitive vault to steal the knock list.
I did like that scene. I don't think it's aged great. I feel like the rat coming in.
Yeah, I felt like all of it was fine. It was pretty good because it's all very, practical effects and things. I think the part we had the same issue, and maybe you had other issues, but was once the rat comes in, he almost drops Ethan, and Ethan's just hanging there.
Yeah.
After he kills the rat, and we see it dead, and he waits for a long, long time before he starts pulling Ethan up, even though Luther's like, hey, the guy's coming, he's at the door.
I know.
Hey, he's coming in. It's like, why is he waiting?
Yeah.
Is he waiting on purpose? Because I thought at the time, because I remembered that he does end up betraying Ethan. He's actually working with Jim. That maybe he's delaying it so that Ethan will be more rushed when he comes up, because he draws a knife on him even and drops it, which that's kind of weird. It's like Ethan gets pulled up out of the room and he draws a knife on him and he drops it.
It's true. Why do he have his knife out?
It's like, I don't get that part, because isn't that a giveaway for Ethan? Like, hey, this guy's not trustworthy. He just tried to kill me and took the disc out of my mouth immediately.
That's a good point.
I don't get that.
Maybe that's why he tricks him later on with the disc scene.
I think he was already prepared for that. It seems like he's trying to double cross him in the vents, but then they all go back to the hotel safe house together in London. It's like, oh, no big deal. We'll spend time together, even though you drew a knife on me.
The only trustworthy guy is the hacker.
Yeah, Luther. He's a cool guy. And then we go train sequence, final confrontation aboard a high-speed train. Jim Phelps revealed as the real traitor. But before that, he meets Jim. Jim's alive.
Yeah.
At the subway station or whatever.
That whole scene was so weird.
So yeah, you had some confusion about this. So let's dive into that for a second. So Jim just shows up and Ethan's like, oh, you're alive. And then Jim tries to convince Ethan, hey, it was Kittredge, that our boss, that actually was the one that killed all of the team and tried to kill me. He shot me. Jim thinks he has Ethan fooled, but the movie's showing us clips of Ethan thinking back at what happened, and instead of it being like Kittredge, like they're killing all the team, Ethan's seeing Jim. Jim faked his own death. He killed the hacker, Emilio Estevez, using his computer on the elevator. And the only person he's not sure if is in on it or not is the wife, Claire.
Dude, what a freaking hottie.
Very attractive.
Yes. That's what we'll say about that.
Thou shalt not.
Right, Jimmy, I'm listening to you.
Yeah, so was that the part that was confusing? You're like, why is it showing these images of him?
So, yeah, I realized, Ethan is, realizing that Jim did it. Mm-hmm. But why does Jim even do it?
Jim was the actual mole they were looking for.
Who was working with Max.
Yeah. Jim goes into the initial first heist, planning on betraying his team, getting the disc, and letting them Ethan take the fall, that he was the mole, fake his own death, and still get the disc. Okay. But then the disc is fake because
it was all planted.
Right.
Okay.
But maybe he even knew that, but it was still like, hey, I gotta make someone, they're on to me. They know there's a mole. They suspect my team. Can even suspect me. So let's go and walk into their trap. I'll fake my own death, kill some of the team, let Ethan take the rap. And then I can just live in the shadows and do my own thing. Okay. So after that.
So is his whole reason for being the mole is just to work with Max, just so he can get paid? He just flips because of money?
Yeah, I think he's just it's for the money. He just goes rogue on our country.
Is there a reason for that though?
It doesn't really gives a reason why.
He never has a monologue where he's like, I did this for this. And he ends up killing his wife too.
Well, he does say when he's trying to convince Ethan it's Kittredge, he says, it was Kittredge. And then Ethan's like, but why? Jim starts giving a reason. Well, you have a lousy marriage and blah, 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 and this and that. And
President of the United States thinks that he runs the country without asking your permission.
Yeah, and he's like, you get paid $60,000 a year. It's like, you just get fed up. And so I think that is actually Jim's reason. Maybe that's why he kills his wife, because I don't think that made sense either, why he shot his wife. I think that was just like... I think that was lazy for that scene, honestly.
It was super weird.
That, like... Yeah, let's get to that last scene. Jim has the gun. He has Ethan. He has his wife. His wife's on his team. Shoot Ethan, but for some reason he turns and shoots his wife.
Yeah, the person who's literally on his team. Right. And then he punches Ethan and thinks that's enough.
Right, and runs away.
What are you doing?
I feel like that's lazy. I feel like there should be, there should be something more to it, right? Like the stick of gum, or like something where Ethan has something ready to where he can kind of fight his way out of the situation rather than just be given a way out.
Yeah, I agree. It was lame. I thought the train scene was cool. It's very, very cool to like watch someone fight on a train. I had no complaints about that. Mm-hmm. But I do think that the Claire dying and Jim's like motivation wasn't like super obvious. He's just like tired. Yeah, he just wants power and whatever.
Price, quote unquote.
Yeah, I wish they would have fleshed that out more. And I feel like Max's character was weird too. Like we didn't really get to understand like what she actually wanted either. She was just like, I'm a bad person who's really rich.
Yeah, and I get the sense, and maybe I'm wrong, that she's kind of like a middleman of like, I buy sensitive information and get it to someone else. It seemed like she was more of a middleman.
It's like double cross. It was too much of that. It was just like, yeah. So, just to get it straight, Jim is tired of being Jim.
He's been selling out his country.
So he's like, okay, I'm going to frame Ethan. That doesn't work.
Kind of does. They're after him.
Yeah, they're after him. Ethan decides to try to sell this stuff back to the person who Jim is actually working for so that he can meet Job.
Right.
Somehow he discovers Max, by the way, by looking at the Bible. That scene was really stupid, in my opinion.
Well, I don't get, how... Okay, that's fine. Like, you figure out the job 314 actually means a scripture, but he just gets on the computer and he just starts sending out emails to like, okay, maybe this is their email, and just starts sending them out.
Right.
Like, where did he get the list of email addresses, or was he making them up?
Yeah.
Or... I don't know.
Whatever. We can pretend that didn't... That part was really weird. That's when I feel like the movie started to go downhill. I was like, what? So he contacts Max because he wants to talk to Job. He does the whole mission to get the documents. What are they called? The knock list?
Yeah.
He finally gets the knock list to Max. By that point, the government is already after Ethan, and they know where Max is. And then Jim, I don't know, man. It's just too much.
Yeah, Ethan calls Kittredge, and he purposely kind of lets them track him to England, but not his exact location. Then they show up, and there's a package waiting for Kittredge, the CIA, with a watch.
Yeah.
We later find out it's so that Ethan can show that Jim's still alive.
That's what that was.
Right. Because Kittredge watches, and Ethan has the glasses on. He's like, I'm not the only one that knows you're alive. I've seen you alive. It is a lot of double crossing.
See, I felt like there was so much going on that there are lots of little details that you just kind of miss. It's been a long time since I've watched this as well.
Yeah.
And so it was like, wow, that was a ton.
I don't think I ever even knew or realized until this viewing that the very beginning of this movie is a setup for Ethan to take the fall. I think I was too young to like catch any of that. It was just like, oh, cool spy movie.
Yeah.
Gum that blows up. I'm in.
I think the first time I watched this movie was a couple of years ago, and I don't even think I was watching it with like full intent of trying to understand the story. I just watched it because of the cool scenes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think just from my perspective, movies should be... This is what I loved about Ocean's 11. It was super clear the entire time.
Yes.
What the motivation was, what was happening.
Yeah, very simple.
And even when there was a twist, you very quickly were able to understand that, oh, the SWAT team was these guys. Yeah. And actually that was just a recording.
Yeah.
Like there was a couple twists that were like, wow.
And they would like go back and show some things.
Yeah, and so the movie shows you very easily what was happening.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it's like, there's too much.
Okay, well, what does Ethan Hunt need? Does he have a need in this movie? I want to say maybe I kind of want to say, was it like he needed to like realize and know that Claire was not on his side, but I think he suspected it.
He did. That's why he never let her do any of her sexual things to him. he saw right through that. Well, he needed to clear his name. Like, that was a really important aspect of the movie.
Yeah, I mean,
that's kind of like his whole motivation the whole time.
Yeah, I feel like that's his want, though, more than his need. Because that's very clear at the beginning. He's like, I want to find Job guy.
So you say, what is his, like, what does he need? Is it like...
Yeah, like, what does he need to do or become? Because, right, like, Wyatt Earp wants to retire and live with his brothers, but he needs to step up and be a lawman. So Ethan wants to find Job and get revenge, but is there anything that he needs to actually do or become that's kind of different or even in contradiction to what he wants? If you're listening out there, feel free to message us. You feel like you see a need for Ethan Hunt, but
if someone can easily describe the movie too in like a paragraph, that'd be great.
Well, does the movie make us care? How or why?
I think at first
Ethan Hunt and his...
I think at first I really did. I was genuinely like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for Ethan. Like, his whole squad gets wrecked. He's getting framed. This is terrible. And so you really do care about him. But I think that all of the mess that comes afterwards is really hard for me to feel like I really cared about him at the end of it.
Okay. I felt like even through the twists and turns and things, yeah, it's like, that'd be a tough situation to be in. So I felt for him. It's like this woman's kind of being flirty and seductive, but then he finds out her husband's alive, and like he's suspecting they are both against him, betrayed him and his team, and then she's reaching his hand out to him and kissing it, and he's like, dude, this is jacked up. And then he's really a man on the run, so the only choice he has is like, I gotta set these people up to know that they are the ones that betrayed our country and not me. My family's even being framed. I gotta clear our names. And so I felt like I wanted him to win. I wanted him to be able to find out who Job is, find out if the girl was on his team, pull one last, wearing the mask, trick people, spy gadgets. And he does. And it's pretty good, but not my favorite.
I agree.
Let's score it out then. Give our score and let the fans out there know if it was a legend or a letdown.
I think it was a bit of a letdown. But I do think that it set the expectation for like spy movies. Mm-hmm. I love the soundtrack so much. Bum, 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 bum. Like, that's so iconic still. So, like, I love what they did with the music. I love what they did with, like, the idea that you could make cool spy movies. And I feel like I don't know if like, they started in the 90s, but, like, I feel like the Bourne legacy, the Bourne movies are kind of, like, inspired by this. Mm-hmm.
2000s.
Yeah. Like, I feel like there was a lot of good spy heist-esque movies that like, came out after that. And I feel like Mission Impossible is kind of, like, maybe not like the grandfather, but maybe like the father. Because I know that like there were movies before this.
Sure.
Like 007.
Yeah.
I think he might have probably started
those.
show.
Mission Impossible TV show.
And there's even a movie with Frank Sinatra as the main actor for Ocean's 11.
Right.
So it's not the one who started it, but I feel like when you talk about spy movies, Mission Impossible is the one that you talk about because of just how iconic it is. And so I think that for what it is, it's great. And so maybe it is a legend in that respect, that it's like, this is like one of the OG movies, spun off 8 other movies.
Yeah. The
soundtrack, dun, dun, that like is such a legendary soundtrack. The cool scenes. Ethan Hunt being like an iconic character. Definitely legendary in that, but I think it is a letdown in the aspect of storytelling. So it's kind of in the middle for me.
I felt very similar to you, where it's like I almost could swing either way.
Yeah.
Definitely iconic scenes. I don't know that I love this movie though, so in that way it's kind of a letdown.
Yep, I felt the same way.
But I think it is a legend in that when it came out and what it is, and the twists and turns, even though they're kind of hard to follow, I could see why it's like would be a legend in people's eyes. Dang, I don't even know what to score this movie either.
That's how I'm feeling. I'm gonna
say it's a bit of a letdown though.
Yeah, I think I give it like a 6.5.
That's fair. I think
it's good. Didn't love it.
I think
lots of issues, but there's good value in it as well.
Also, I'll say this with my score before I give it. Like, it looks beautiful and it's shot really well.
It's true.
And obviously it was probably shot on film and it just looks great. Movies before they became digital just really looked really good. So I love that about it. I think I'm very similar on the score with you. I'm thinking like 6.5.
Dang, we about to give the same score to something?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's our review of Mission Impossible numero uno. Whoa, we've got a 3.7.
So we got 3 ratings. Let's go.
Dang, one of them was a 1 star.
Oh my gosh, so we have to read it.
Wait, only one person wrote something.
Okay,
down.
some freaking nerd gave us a 1 star.
All right, so we got a comment here by
Daryl Deus.
Daryl Deuce. I like the Tombstone episode. I like how they referred to different aspects of the movie as well as the flaws. People appearing in different settings without the movie explaining the story of how they go there. It would have been interesting if someone would have known the true story of the people portrayed in the movie to give them context. Perhaps Wyatt was a philanderer, or Blaylock left him for her opium addiction. Reality is messy and doesn't always flow in a linear fashion. It would have been enlightening if someone had the real perspective of these people's lives and explained the difference in the film.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure there's podcasts out there that dive into more of the history and background of, real characters, but we just kind of give our take on if the story worked for us, what we liked, what we didn't like. So, Daryl, I'm sorry to disappoint you. We're the worst. We'll do better. We'll learn our history.
We appreciate you.
I'm going to go look up Ethan Hunt and figure out his history. Try to do my research and get back to you on that. But no, yeah, I get where you're coming from, and it'd be cool to actually learn a little bit more about Wyatt Earp. So thanks for your review.
Yeah, we appreciate it. If you're listening right now, give us a comment. We want to read what you guys have to say.
And don't forget, on Spotify, you can comment on each episode rather than podcast. On Apple Podcasts, you can just leave a comment generally on the podcast. But on Spotify, you can comment on each episode. And then on YouTube, if you go find us there's obviously the comment section. So we'd love to interact with you. You can also find us on Instagram at real.legends.pod. Love to interact with you there with comments or messages as well. You can DM us. Tell us if there's any movies you think are iconic that we should put on our list. What do you think, Dan?
We got 2 5-star reviews, bro. That's awesome.
Yeah, not too bad.
We're not gonna talk about the 1 star.
Dang, that was rough. That 1 star review. Well, we'll come back with other comments and interactions with the fans next week. See you at the concession stand, folks.
Just catch you on the flippity flop.
Nerd.
Every time, baby.
Yeah. See ya. Concessions. Not the buffet, because Dan can't handle it.
Go to the buffet and pick like 1 or 2 items. Okay, don't get everything.